Hey good folks, my name is Tana Burton and I just really love to talk with you today about a wonderful job opportunity in the area of marriage and family services, and it's called a newborn ICU or NICU family support specialist. Now this job can be obtained either one of two ways. It can be a hospital-based hire, or it can be a hire through a nonprofit organization like March of Dimes. So for this explanation, I'm really going to focus on the March of Dimes job opportunity as a NICU family support specialist. So the work environment, nationally, March of Dimes, of course, has what they call chapters, which means organizations set up in each of our states in the United States of America. And so each chapter would then hire a NICU family support specialist. That specialist would then be contracted with a higher level newborn ICU and a hospital to go into that hospital's NICU and interact and do their job with families that are in that particular facility. Typically, chapters are, on the smaller side, especially in my state here in Utah. It would be a smaller chapter. Stressors that come along with this job would be multiple. Some of those would be just being able to go in and effectively build relationships of trust between the family support specialist and the staff at the hospital so that things can move forward in the way that they need to. Another stressor is that the family support specialist would be in charge of recruiting, onboarding, training, organizing all NICU volunteers. So that can be an involved and a little bit stressful part of the job. Another potential stressor for the job is that there is a lot of paperwork to be done. In other words, reports for national record keeping, those types of things that have to be done in a timely manner, and you really need to know your way around Microsoft Office. Another stressor would just be the scope of work that can be done, the amount of things that could be accomplished for families, fitting that inside of limited hours. So typically, a NICU family support specialist would be a part-time job, though they can be full-time. They are typically part-time. So you're working with limited hours. And you really have to make some decisions about what you can give your time to, what would be nice, but you really can't. Let's see, typical benefits of this job for part-time employees. It's not a lot different than the rest of the jobs out there. Part-time employees don't have lots of benefits. However, you can have the accrual of vacation hours, sick hours, bereavement hours, personal hours, those kinds of things that you can use so that you can take time off. If you were a full-time NICU family support specialist, there would also be added to that the benefit of having insurance plans, health insurance plan. Common jobs that a NICU specialist does could involve, but are not limited to, one-on-one support. So the specialist goes into the newborn ICU and visits with families one-on-one and offers them support in whatever ways are perceived to be needed. Another really important thing that a NICU family support specialist does is they develop personalized, customized education opportunities for the demographic of the people that are going to that NICU, so that parents can have a leg up, so that they can have a way to navigate in responsible and effective ways, so that the amount of stress that they have can be mitigated as much as possible. Also added to that then would be activities and or events. So occasionally those come up. For instance, NICUs often will have an annual NICU graduate reunion, which would then fall on the shoulders of the NICU family support specialist to organize. It's a big job. Staff education is another big part of the NICU family support specialist's scope of work. They would need to go into the hospital, develop that partnership, deepen the partnership, be basically the liaison between March of Dimes and the hospital, and then go in with staff education opportunities to help staff become more aware, more educated in those ways in which they could more effectively work with families to improve outcomes in the NICU. Not only just medically and not only just with their time in the NICU, but as they leave the NICU and go home and then have to, raise that child up and to be successful with that. Also, as I mentioned before, they will work with any NICU volunteers. They also act as a parent voice on different boards and committees that are hospital-based to be an advocate for families, to remind and always beat that drum of families, families, families. How are our practices and procedures going to affect families and their success rate when they go home? Also, so then involved in that is being a voice and a part of the team that innovates policies, standards, and procedures. So you would know what those are, and then you would be part of a think tank opportunity to come up with innovative ways to do it better. Like I said, you would need to do a lot of stuff with Microsoft Office, so it's good to have those skills. Also, as part of the volunteer working, the NICU Family Support Specialist would have their own. It's called a CNAC. What that stands for is Chapter NICU Advisory Committee that they meet with monthly or bi-monthly to basically think tank with different representatives from different community organizations, graduate parents, but also different disciplines in the NICU staff itself. And then to go back to the implementing committees to be able to get those things put into place. The education that's required for this, they like you to have a bachelor's degree. They would love you to have a master's degree. In any kind of those areas that have to do with family relations, mental health, even a nursing degree would be great. So the money then that one can earn would depend. You might come in at a $15 an hour and then go up as experience to maybe $26 an hour. But remember that also as you become more experienced, it's more likely that they would want you to work full time. So you're not only increasing your dollars per hour, you're increasing your time. So this is a really fascinating and fabulous field to work with families, because we do all this technical advancing, we do all this medical advancing, and we forget that people are people and that they're going home in families to make the outcomes of their medical time work and to try to navigate that as best they can. They need tools. They need tools. And really, 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 it's unethical for us not to give them those tools to be successful, both for the blessing of that baby and for the family in general, which means all of society, right? We know that. So anyway, that's what I have for you today on NICU Family Support Specialists, particularly working for the March of Dimes. Thank you.